Hey everyone, Richard here from Designed and Built. In this episode, we finally get to start assembling my Barra-powered LANDCRUISER for one last time. We cover a bit of fab, paint some parts, do some mechanical, and get the chassis rolling. Let's get into it. George, my neighbour and good friend, has kindly offered his Unimog towing services for my chassis, so it's freshly painted with Valspar. Can't wait to get this back in the shed and start assembling it. There's a little bit of damage we've got to fix, but that's no biggie. Alrighty, so we have the chassis back from blasting and painted. Now it's coated in a black polyurethane paint and it's nice and thick. I think there are 2 coats and a primer on there. So I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm actually super stoked with the finish. Let's have a look at some of the details. So you might notice the chassis is on the other side of the garage. I plan on setting up a little paint booth in that corner. So this is my rule for the chassis. Nothing goes on unless it's complete. Anytime I'm bolting something on, every bolt is done up to torque and it's paint penned as well. Maybe not every bolt, but definitely the big, the big chassis suspension bolts will be. Some of the M6s I think I'd potentially leave if it's just, fastening interior stuff. So there's actually a heap of stuff that I have to do before I can bolt anything onto the chassis. I can't bolt the diffs on yet. You may think they're done. We have to swap housings for a handbrake one. So before we assemble the chassis, we need to finish the weld off on a few bits and then paint everything which is required to get it rolling. Today we're cleaning up the seat frame and the radiator mounts for paint. So there's a whole heap of welding that I haven't done and I've just left it until it was off the car. I actually got a new torch for my TIG, so I've been busting to use it. Could do it all with a MIG, but I definitely enjoy the TIG side of things more. And then yeah, just more welds on this basically. Seat frame and radiator mounts all welded off now, so ready to paint. Just like that, I have a 80 series converted H260 rear. This is the H260 rear housing off of 4.8, which came with a handbrake. So for those of you who have been following along, you'll know that my other housing didn't have a handbrake on it because it was supposed to be on the Patrol transfer case, but I ended up switching to the 80 series transfer case to reduce my tail shaft angle. So I was traded with my mate Lawrence. It was a big day. I didn't film any of it. It's just mechanical stuff, and you're going to see plenty of that in this episode. So I was thinking about just, painting over it, but we're here now, and I've got to go down to the sandblasters today anyway to pick up some bolts. So I'm going to drop this off and get it blasted, and then I'll paint it up. Yeah, we've come this far, and I tried to wire wheel it just to see how it'd go, and I wasn't particularly happy with the finish, and yeah, we've come this far. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm not completely through the mechanical yet. I'm still waiting on a few bits and pieces for the engine before I put everything back together. Now, there are some parts like the engine mounts and stuff like that that I'll have to have painted before it goes onto the chassis. The idea here is really get the chassis rolling, and there are still a few parts that I have to paint before I do so. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of set up a pseudo ghetto spray booth here, just run wire along the roof. I'll be able to hang stuff down. I'll probably glad wrap the lights if they don't get too hot, which I think they should be all right. And then, yeah, we'll be good to paint. This is how you get extra brownie points with your misses. Just grab a handful of these straight off the clothesline. I've turned my garage into a makeshift spray booth. Got some wires hanging up and everything hanging up by the wires, so I am ready to spray. So the differences between last time I sprayed something, which was the diffs, and this time is I got a new spray gun. So Spectre sent me out this spray gun. I'm yet to use it, so I'll let you know how it goes. It's designed for small air compressors, which is what I have. I don't have a big one at all. So it's perfect for my user case, so I can't wait to test it out. And I'm using the same stuff as last time, which I've used for the chassis and pretty much everything else so far, which is the TB543, which is a polyurethane paint, pretty hard wearing. I'm using 10% thinner this time, so it's going to be quite a thick coat of paint for all this stuff. This is mainly underbody stuff that you're not going to see, so yeah, I want it to be quite thick. Let's go ahead and spray it all up now. So unfortunately, I've got to flip all this stuff over because it's too heavy to hang on my wire lines, but everything up here is double coated. So that's really nice. So I'm going to flip this stuff over and then I will paint again. I've waited 5 hours in between, so when I flip it over, I don't damage it all. That's the flipped over side all done. And I had a bit of extra paint, so I just threw in the diff and that just got sandblasted. So round 2 with the diff, you'll hopefully be able to see that from the time lapse. Pretty happy with the new spray gun. Shout out to Spectre. Definitely better than my Ozito Special Chalk and Cheese, in fact. I think I'm the one who's letting the spray gun down, so I just need to get a little bit better. rolling chassis day. So I've been looking forward to this day for a very long time. I guess the idea is to bolt all the suspension components on and the diffs and get it rolling. So I've got a few friends coming over, I've laid everything out and we've just got to bolt it all back up to the car. I guess you can see here, pretty much everything is done in 2-pack using that Valspar, and that's important because the paint actually is quite hard wearing. Not that it really matters, it's going to get dirty, but obviously you don't want anything rusting. Another thing I've done is got all the bolts soda blasted and then re-zinced, so they're as good as new and they're all the OEM bolts. So yeah, it's pretty much everything that goes back on the car is going to be as good as new or brand new. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's get into it. There we go, she's rolling. Am I stoked? Hell yeah. This is, a huge milestone for me. I mean, it hasn't been torn down for that long, but this is the part I have been literally looking forward to for months. Assembly, disassembly, not my favorite thing. I'll admit, I like the fab stuff more, but putting it together for one last time is something I'm really enjoying. Everything is cranked up to FT. I've just got to put a paint pen on it all. So the only thing that isn't done is the swivel hub. So I've got to rebuild the swivel hub. As I've sort of touched upon before, it's now a bit of a space management exercise. I just don't have a huge garage. So I've got a rolling chassis here. I've still got tray, guard, sliders to paint, and then I've still got an engine to assemble. So sort of two separate work streams, one mechanical, one more paint and clean. Today we're doing the swivel hubs. I have personally never done them before. So I've got Laurie from LCS 4x4 coming to help me out. It's one of those things you want to get right. So these diffs have already come apart when we converted them to Toyota, and I just slapped them back together because I didn't really have to have them rebuilt at the time. But now I'm going back and building them properly. So I guess first job is to pull everything apart, and I'll just show you what's going to go back on the inside. So I've rebuilt all the calipers. If I'm organized, I'll flash up a time lapse, but very possibly not. I think I might have lost the footage. I've got new rotors. So I've got the GQ manual locking hubs, which are apparently better than the GU. Then I've also got my rebuild kit here. I've got a heap of bearings that I need to start packing with grease. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it apart and then start packing some bearings, and we'll put it all back together when Laurie arrives. So Laurie from LCS has brought over his swivel hub bearing puller. So this is a product that he's selling. So it's very easy to use. You just put an impact gun there and it'll remove the bearing. We'll show you in a second. Excellent. Easy as. Swivel hub is now rebuilt. We've got the GQ manual lockers on there. We've got a rebuilt caliper and we've got a brand new rotor. So that's pretty much job done. So we've got a rolling chassis and we've got rebuilt diffs, rebuilt everything that's on it. All the bolts are torqued. I think that's the end of the ep. Next episode, we'll get onto the engine. I hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. We're really getting to the pointy end of the build now, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to see this thing on the road. So if you want to see more of the build, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Cheers.